Ryan Morrow, welcome to the podcast booth. Tell me who you are, who you work with, and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Good to be here. My name is Ryan Morrow with Firefly out of Stockholm, Sweden. We're one of the leaders when it comes to fire prevention and fire protection systems around the world. And we've got a group here with Firefly North America, FNA Inc., which is just located here in North America, covering this market for fire.
Specifically for Firefly?
Specifically for Firefly.
Okay, so tell me about Firefly, and what specifically does Firefly do as it relates to fire protection? Like, what's your sort of application that's specifically relevant to our industry?
Yeah, the biggest thing is shredding. And it's been a huge uptick in the amount of shredding going on here in the United States, especially with recycling. So anytime you have all these foreign materials getting into shredders, you have a tendency to have things get in there that shouldn't be in there. And even if it is the normal material, the organic material, whatever it is, being shredded, just the nature of shredding, the friction of it, and all this causes an awful lot of fire incidents. So,
what specific types of things do you have? Equipment? Do you have?
So what we do is
what's the implementation?
We've got some really high tech, true infrared detectors, which are able to pick up dark black particulates as well as sparks and glowing embers that are coming out of the shredder. So we can pick these things up. It can even be hot tramp metal. It can be hot organic material that's over the minimum ignition temperature and minimum energy level.
Okay.
So that if it gets out of the shredder and goes to the next phase, like into a storage bin or a hopper, you could possibly have a fire and explosion. So we detect those things and we suppress them before they become a fire and an explosion.
So is it like a like back in the day I ran like vaults, and is it like a suppression? So is it water or some kind of chemical that once you detect, then it
you can use different types of suppression mediums, but we use water in the recycling industry.
Right.
Sometimes it's a water mist, so it's a very little amount of water that's used, but very effective, because when they hit flames and things, they multiply 1,700 times. They turn into steam, inert the area, and cool the area. So it's very effective, and people are able to restart their production right quickly. So they don't lose any production time. So water's the main use in the recycling stream.
Okay, and so are you putting this in trucks predominantly, or are you putting it in plant-based operations more?
More plant-based operations. That's really heavy industrial kind of waste management. It's for public services, things like that, where they're bringing in into transfer stations, a lot of things, and then shredding them and MRFs and things like that. But the mobile shredding is of interest. We're right now developing some certain things for that application as well.
So presumably, just based on what you're saying, you're in much bigger industries than just this industry.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we're in every single segment. For example, some of our largest customers are in the tissue industry, like the Georgia Pacifics, Kimberly-Clark's, Procter & Gamble, First Quality Tissue, all those large tissue machines that are making tissue paper, toilet paper, paper towels.
Yeah.
And then also the food industry. One of our biggest customers is Mondelez. Makes all the Oreos and the Triscuits and Ritz crackers. Anywhere where they're manufacturing things, any manufacturing facility has a tendency to be able to have fires, and so we're able to prevent them from happening. And also, we've got one line of gear that's outside the protection area also, which is more of an open area fire protection, where we use open area flame detectors with water mist to quickly, they react within 300 milliseconds, up to about 3 seconds in terms of response time.
Wow. So do you have active installations in shredding operations here in North America now?
Oh, yeah. We've hundreds. Hundreds. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's probably the biggest growing area right now is the recycling area. And in Europe, I've been over in Sweden for 35 years. The shredding has been going on there for quite some time.
Right.
And now it's really picked up over the last 5 to 6 years here in North America. So before it was a lot of sorting in the recycling, a lot of sorting. And, but now they're doing a lot of shredding. And anytime you have shredding, you're going to get a lot of fire incidents and explosions and things.
Yeah, so interesting. So it's essentially it's systems that you mount near and around your shredding equipment. and then suppression that's specifically geared. So let's assume in a lot of shred plants, you've got the shredder, and then it comes out into the baler, pushes out into the baler. Like, are you mounting equipment right around that? How does that kind of operate?
That's a good question. So for the true infrared detectors, we mount these so they're looking inside the process. So they're inside the fall chutes, they're inside the pneumatic ducts, they're inside the baler.
Okay.
Those are the true IR that are looking for particles, embers and sparks and things like that. And then separately is the protective systems. And those are outside, like the inlet of a hopper for a shredder. You can have fires that start and then the flames come up there.
Right.
So there we would have an open area flame detector up above, UVIR, for example, looking into that area. And when it saw a flame, even the size of millimeters, then we'd have 4 or 5, 6 water mist nozzles above that hopper that would spray and protect that area and protect that asset.
Right.
Because those are pretty expensive.
Right. Because it's not just the fire that gets wrecked; it's the equipment that gets wrecked.
Exactly.
And the equipment's where all the if you lose a bit of paper, whatever. But if you lose the piece of equipment, that's significant.
Yeah.
Or
Even more importantly, the personnel.
Right.
So the personnel, assets, and then downtime and things
so you
like
said
that.
that you're not currently in equipment like trucks, but you're working on that somewhere in the recess of your R&D labs?
Yeah.
Okay,
We've got John Gibson here with Firefly North America, FNA. He's been working very closely with Shred Tech.
Yeah.
And a couple of people like that. So we've delivered some of our equipment. It's a little oversized and a little more industrial than what a truck can use, but they've helped us quite a bit. Now we're taking some extra steps to look at some new ideas and some things that we can do to have some early notifications and warnings of perhaps something happening in the truck so that they can take precautions to be able to alleviate a fire or an incident happening.
So cool. That's delightful. Well, anything that particularly excites you about this industry right now in terms of, you're at the conference, you're at the trade show, what's intriguing, what's exciting for you at this point?
I just think the growth in general, with the recycling in general, it's expanding so much with RDF as well, where all different types of materials, plastics, rubbers, being shredded and used in the furnaces and the boilers to heat energy of all different types of sources. So just the development and the scope, the wide scope of the industry and recycling and shredding is pretty, and alternative fuels is pretty exciting.
Well, Ryan, thank you for telling us a little bit about Firefly, FNA, and appreciate you being here on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Bye-bye.